Hello there. Welcome to the Horsham Battle of the Bands 2021 launch online, because everything's online, isn't it, these days? But hopefully not for much longer, which is kind of the whole point. We are hoping to be in the Human Nature Garden on the 7th and 8th of August this year for the finals. Fingers crossed. It's all kind of penciled in and it's looking good at this stage, but we can't absolutely say for sure, just in case. You know how these things are at the moment with live music. But yes, fingers crossed that'll happen that way. If not, we'll have a backup plan, possibly the rec rooms like last year. And yes, so we thought we'd do an online launch, opening for entries, and just a little bit of a kind of a, you know, big ourselves up, really. Why not? So we've got a good show for you. We've got an ex-winner of Horsham Battle of the Bands is going to be having a little chat to me in a little bit. And then at the end of the show, they're going to do a live track for us. They've recorded a live song session for us. So that's coming up. We've got some kind of reminiscing about past Battle of the Bands. We've got a bit of a who's who on the committee situation happening. But right now, we've got a little bit of footage, I believe. So enjoy that. See you in a minute.
In third place, it is the Doomsville 3.
If we make it through the night, we're gonna be right where we gotta run.
In second place, it is the Soho Jukes.
So you think I heard enough? Whenever we
And in first place, I think I'm right in saying it was a unanimous decision by the judges. Please put a big round of applause together for the winner of 2020 Horsham Battle of the Bands Originals competition. It is Artica!
I know one day I'll drive you insane. I can't take all this haunting pain. I'm meant to be with you, it's in my veins. We can just relax in the place, in the place.
Right then, ladies and gentlemen, our next interview, this is very, very special. We have none other than Mr. Mark Daly, Mr. Battle of the Bands himself, some might say, because when I first moved to Horsham and discovered, you know, the local music scene and Horsham Battle of the Bands, this gentleman was comparing it and had been for quite some time. So how long, Mark, just for everybody's benefit, how long have you been involved with Horsham Battle of the Bands up to recently?
Since 2002. 2002 is when I first got involved.
Oh, okay, wow.
So there you go. So it's 18 years.
That is a long time. I thought it was a bit longer than that. I thought it was like 20 odd years or something, because it started in 1993, didn't it? And
It did.
Yeah, but you got involved 2002.
Yeah, well, I got involved with the Horsham Music Alliance earlier than that, about 2000, 2001, but I was only really involved with Battle of the Bands from 2002.
Okay, cool. Because when I took over comparing, it was 2012. So you must have been doing that for at least 10 years then. The actual
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
comparing, yeah. So if people don't know, now's as good a time as any to mention it. You have, for as long as I've known you, Mark, pretty much been saying that you are definitely one day going to step down from Horsham Battle of the Bands and retire. But you are actually now finally doing that, are you not? You're going to step down. You've been chairman for the last couple of years with us. You were chairman of the HGLMA back in the day. But you are finally officially retiring from Horsham Battle of the Bands, aren't you?
Yes, I am. I thought it was time to call it a day. I thought 2020 was going to be my last involvement in the music scene generally, both with the Battle of the Bands and with QM Studios. So I said to myself many years ago, I wasn't going to be doing this when I was 60.
Mm.
Hmm.
and I'm 63.
Oh, exactly. I remember.
So,
I
I
remember you
just couldn't
saying
let go, but it's time to let go.
Fair enough, mate. Well, I mean, I'm sure you'll be missed, and I'm sure there are many people watching this who will have a lot of gratitude to you personally for your contributions to the Battle of the Bands and the music scene in general. But yeah, it's a sad loss, but we're going to carry on. We're going to try and keep it going for as long as we possibly can. It will be 30 years old next year, if our calculations are correct. We're pretty
Yes, of
sure
course it will.
because it was 93 the first one, as far as everybody can remember. So that'll be 30 years next year. Perhaps we'll tempt you out of retirement for a little kind of like, last hurrah. Anyway, we can chat about that another time. But so you must have lots of memories then, Mark, of the Battle of the Bands over the years. Anything jump out at you?
There's loads actually, to be honest. I do remember when I first started that the Battle of the Bands had been running at the Extra Time Bar
Mm-hmm.
for a long time. And I remember the first proper Battle of the Bands where I ended up comparing and being MC. The Extra Time Bar was packed, and somebody set off a fire alarm, and everyone sort of had to evacuate into the darkness,
no.
onto the running track. And it was the old leisure centre down at Broadbridge Heath. The fire brigade turned up, and they were looking around and said, "Okay, everything's okay." And I just thought, I wonder what the capacity of this place is, because I'm sure we've got more than that number of kids out in the dark. And I thought, if a fireman just looks out into the dark there, we're so in jail. So anyway, after that, we decided it's time to upscale.
Fair enough.
And we went to the drill hall.
Yeah.
And when we started in the drill hall, that just became mental. That was like the peak of when everyone seemed to be in bands. Every teenager in Horsham was in a band. And we had some great events down at the drill hall. They were really good. I kind of miss the mosh pits, actually, that we used to have going on.
I think the first year I compared, it was in the drill hall, but I think that was a weather issue. I think because it didn't move to the bandstand before that. It must have been on the bandstand more often than the drill hall.
We always had the final on the bandstand, and it was in
Right.
October. And I do remember one year it was absolutely freezing. And one year it fell on Halloween, and all the bands turned up dressed as God knows what. So it was absolutely great fun. Those nights were fantastic. Whereas the weather was inclement, we ended up in the drill hall. Well, the saddest time actually over the last my involvement was 2007. I'm afraid the founder of Battle of the Bands, Graham Ansell, he passed away, and that hit us all really hard, to be perfectly honest, because we thought, well, we aren't going to carry on. How could we carry on without Graham? But we did. We pulled together. Everyone did it and kept it going, which was absolutely fantastic. And of course, I absolutely loved all the bands that played. Some of them I became quite fans of. In fact, behind me here, I've dug out a selection of T-shirts which I collected over the years.
Oh, perfect.
This, of course, is the mighty Discarnate here.
Yeah.
They didn't ever win Battle of the Bands. They entered a couple of times, but they went on to become the poster boys of British death metal. So
Indeed, they did. Yes.
Yes, and Hand were another favourite of mine. And we had, of course, who could forget the Mighty Ever After?
Yeah.
That's one of the original T-shirts. I'm pretty sure that's going to be a collector's item one day.
Yeah.
But the talent in Horsham was remarkable. I mean, these were never in Battle of the Bands, but there's a band going now, symphonic metal called Winter's Edge. They're fabulous. Everyone knows about No Jacket Required, the Phil Collins tribute band. And of course, last but not least, here we go, Cats in Space. They're Horsham boys, and they've really made themselves known in the scene. So it's been great.
Cool.
But things did change. The event kind of got smaller. Largely, I call it the Ed Sheeran effect. There's a lot in the 20-teens. A lot of people got the idea that there'll be a solo singer-songwriter, Ed Sheeran, Taylor Swift. So when we started out for years, it was all about the bands, and the acoustic heat was a bit of an afterthought. We'll put an acoustic heat on. That's going to be fun. But now, of course, it went on, and the acoustics actually became bigger than the bands, which is that's the way things are.
I mean,
Uh,
I missed a lot of the era you're talking about because I moved to Horsham in 2009. But I remember a lot of people were talking about that, and of course it very nearly got scrapped, didn't it, in 2014? And then the subcommittee was formed, and then we kind of reworked it a bit, moved it to the park in the summer. Do you think it's kind of had a bit of a renaissance since then? Because I think some of the outdoor
oh,
ones have been great.
oh, the ones in summer have been great. That was a good move, really, moving it to the summer, and of course yeah, made it slightly more family friendly as well, of course, because you
Yeah,
couldn't take the little kids out,
yeah.
in the night, but there it was in the day, and it worked really, really well. And of course, people who'd never heard of it, sort of knew more about it because it was right there, right in the centre of town, right in the open air, and they were great. They were great gigs, really were.
Cool.
And yeah,
And talking about bands going on to bigger things. We one of the interviews we've done for this launch is with Catfish, Catfish Blues Band, who won the covers in 2015. And yeah, I was as I was saying to them, and as you were kind of referencing a minute ago, sometimes bands go on to great things that come through Horsham Battle of the Bands. It's a great platform for beginners and young bands starting out, but it also it can lend itself to professional bands that are very serious about what they do, and quite a few have gone on in recent years as well as before as well. So just one of the great things about Battle of the Bands, I think, that isn't it?
oh, absolutely. It's basically, if a Battle of the Bands, if you're a band starting out, or even a band that's been around for a while, you get to play on a proper stage, professional sound, professional lights. It's all like done, and you can't help but not fail because it's all there for you. It's absolutely great. It's a great experience to actually play in that environment, and it obviously makes bands think, are we serious about this? Do we want more of this? Gives them a target, and gives them something to aim
exactly.
for.
And I think the bands that generally win, in my experience, are the ones that really kind of take to that stage and have what it takes to really kind of fill it and not be intimidated by it. Killing Vegas, leaped to mind. They were just killing it. Whatever year that was, Sonic Deluxe, and Artica last year. The guys that were all like 13 years old. Just absolutely just rocked it, didn't they? And for guys that young to be that tight and that good, it was what it was all about for me.
Oh well, the 2020 event, actually, last year's event was actually, when I was looking at that, what am I, what's the proudest moment I've ever had in this? And I thought 2020 was it, because everyone knows what happened. We had the COVID, we had the lockdown, we had a window of opportunity to do it. And I didn't really do that much, really. It was you guys, the Highgate guys, yourself. But everyone came together. The Woodstock IT, they continued to sponsor us. The Rec Rooms came on board. We could manage to organise it in a COVID secure way, and they were 3 absolutely fabulous nights. But it's funny you should say about Arcia being the youngest band ever to win it, and they were really, really young. But on the other scale, we had the Soho Dukes, and they were in the same final, and they were guys, they'd been around for a bit, but they got together to make fantastic new music. So you had both ends of the spectrum there. You had Arcia, who were brand new, like I say, 13 years of age, and they absolutely nailed it, as if they'd been playing for as long as Soho Dukes. And I just thought that was fantastic.
I think
actually,
that's
fantastic to see.
I think that's why they edged it as well. I don't think it was just given to them because they were the youngest. I think they genuinely deserved it because they really kind of rose to the occasion. And I chatted to the Soho Dukes guys afterwards, because for me, it was between Soho Dukes and Artica. I thought they were both just brilliant performances. Soho Dukes were so good. They're so good at what they do. But I chatted to most of them afterwards, and they were very happy for the Artica to win because they thought they deserved it as well. So, yeah, I mean, the standard was great. The standard's always pretty high, I think. And yeah, long may it continue, basically. Would you agree?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. The other thing is, this is a community event. It's something that everyone in Horsham and the environs can get involved with. And yeah, if last year's told us anything at all, it's what life's like without live music, and it sucks.
Absolutely.
Basically.
there's a lot of appetite for live music, and fingers crossed it's all going to be coming back within a few weeks' time once we get past the various hurdles and the guidelines. So fingers crossed from June there'll be actual proper gigs again and all that stuff. And we're going to go ahead in the Nature Garden on the 7th and 8th of August. Fingers crossed. Again, it might, it's all subject to change, but we'll have a backup plan if we can't have the garden. But it's all looking good at the moment. And anything else you want to add, mate? I think we'll wrap it up. But if you want to add anything else, go for it.
No, all I can say is I must admit the last, whatever it was, 18 years I've been doing this, have been an absolute blast. It's been tiring, it's been exhausting, but it's always been worth it. I just think, it's one of the things, one of the things I'm most proud of being involved in, and I wish you all the best for the future.
Brilliant. Well, thank you very much, mate. Thank you for everything you've done for it and the live music scene in general. And now that you're not actually on the organising team anymore, why not enter, mate? Get Epsilon up and running, or a new band even, and just why not? Just for fun, get involved.
I'll think about it. I'll see what we're like when we get to rehearse again. We might have forgotten how to play.
well, a lot of people probably feel that. Yeah. I haven't played properly for ages. Anyway. We'll leave it there, mate. Nice one. So thank you very much for joining us. Everybody, that is Mr. Battle of the Bands himself, Mr. Mark Daly. Thank you. Welcome, everybody. This is Matt and Paul Long from Catfish Blues Band. Hi, how you doing?
Hi, thanks for having us. Hi.
Cool. Thanks for doing this, guys. Really, really appreciate it.
No problem.
I realised earlier that I've literally never interviewed anybody before. I just kind of go with the flow and sort of make things up as I go along, and then suddenly realise that I'm doing something completely unusual that I'm not used to doing. But I've done some research, and hopefully it's all good. So
yeah, it's all good, man. Yeah, just do whatever you like. It's all good.
Yeah, everything's happening online at the moment, obviously, because of the way things are. So we're going to do this whole Battle of the Bands launch, and we were chatting about it, and we thought, wouldn't it be great to get somebody, a previous winner of Horsham Battle of the Bands, on, have a bit of a chat, and maybe get them to do a live track for us. So I understand you're going to do a bit of a live track for us a bit later on, yeah?
Yeah.
Cool.
We'll do a song for you guys in a minute.
Fantastic. So let's just have a little bit of a chat. I was just thinking, when I was thinking about how to prepare for this, I thought, well, it's been a long time since I've kind of known you guys off and on through various means. You guys won the cover acts competition in 2015, as if memory serves. And I remember thinking at the time, you guys do a lot of your own original stuff. So I remember thinking, they could have probably entered both, but you chose to enter the covers, didn't you?
Well, I think at that time we were quite early on in our career, and we were still basically in essence a covers band, because we would play like blues covers in pubs and just mainly have some fun and make a bit of money here and there. So I think at the time, we probably would have done more covers than originals at that time. I think maybe at that point we had just started writing some original stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we probably had a couple of tunes, but didn't play them. Did a cover set.
Well, you'd have been disqualified if you had. That's the thing.
There you go.
That'd
have been why.
Yeah, that'd be why. But yeah, you absolutely rocked it. I remember Matt jumping off the stage and doing solos because this was in the park. This was the second year since we moved to the Nature Garden in the park. It was absolutely brilliant. And you came back the following year in 2016 and did a headline winners set as well. So you've actually played Battle of the Bands twice. I'm just wondering, do you guys have any memories of Battle of the Bands before you entered it and won it? Because obviously it's been going since 1993. Do any of you have any memories of that?
Well, I've been in and around Horsham for basically my whole life, and I never actually managed to get around to going to one before. So when we entered, it was our first time there, so it was all just a very fresh new experience for us, and we really, really enjoyed it. It was just a lot of fun. It was if you whittle it down to the bare bones, it was a really nice day out in the sun, as well.
Well, absolutely. That's kind of what we aim for, and so talking about you growing up in Horsham, I actually moved to Horsham in 2009. So Battle of the Bands was running long before I turned up. But I actually remember I met you for the first time around that time in an open mic night, Matt, in I think it was the Boar's Head. I think it was
Boar's Head,
yeah.
In Boar's Head I can't remember where, but I remember there was a whole bunch of open mic nights I'd always go to. This is when I was kind of still trying to find a thing to do, like a band, or just find an avenue to go down. And yeah, I remember meeting you there as well.
I think it was Dave Toy's open mic that he ran there for a few years, and I just remember
Yeah.
you must have been really young. How old were you then? Do you think must have been kind of teenager?
I have no idea.
Yeah, it would have been a teenager.
Yeah, certainly
Yeah.
a teenager. Certainly, probably
Yeah,
like 15,
And
maybe 14.
I saw you play with someone and really shredding on guitar, but also you did a Tom Waits cover, I think, as well, as I recall. And
yeah.
Well done. But that would have been with Tom Holder on bass, probably.
yes, I think that's right, Paul. Yeah, and
Yeah.
no one was expecting the Tom Waits either at that point. It was like, wow, okay, cool, that's versatile. Anyway, I just remember thinking this is talent. This guy's going to go far. And then Paul, I met you for the first time, I think, when you were at Battle of the Bands in 2015. I think that was the first time I met you.
Yeah, probably was.
Yeah, and obviously the rest of the band, and just 4 absolutely brilliant musicians. As I say, blew everyone away, and rightly so, won, in my opinion. I think it was a fairly unanimous decision that year. So just moving on. So since then, a lot's happened. Now, I'm not suggesting for a second that Battle of the Bands was the launch pad or anything that kind of set you up for future success. I think you guys were probably already on your way, to be fair. But just quickly, I'll just briefly check my notes here. You've done a hell of a lot of things since. You've had 3 albums out. And you are, I should have introduced you properly, really. You are, in fact, the award-winning Catfish blues band. I think it's fair to say.
Yeah, well, that's the moniker now, I guess.
that's how it works, isn't it? But I mean, quite a lot of awards, it has to be said. And the 2020 UK Blues Award Band of the Year, Blues Instrumentalist of the Year, Matt Long, 2018 Best Acts of the Year. The list goes on, frankly. Yeah, well done. Great stuff.
Well, thank you very much. It's been a real kind of a hell of a journey. And, coming from, like I said before, playing in pubs, doing covers and making a bit of money here and there, to all of that, it's just very surreal to all of us. And it's something that we never really expected it to happen, no matter which band we were in. And yeah, we were just so thankful that it's kind of blossomed in this way and kind of turned into this, what is essentially the biggest band I've been in my life so far, and probably other guys as well. It's just been, it's been fantastic.
So just talking about the other guys, I'll talk about the other 2 guys in a minute, who obviously aren't here with us at the moment, but it's quite unusual to find a father and son team in a band. I was racking my brains trying to think. There's probably some really famous ones I just haven't remembered, but I can't think of any off the top of my head. The whole father and son thing in a band. How many bands have you been in, Paul, before this one?
I started playing in bands in the early 70s. And before that, I did a cabaret duo act with my dad. So it was father and son.
Right.
So that would have been in the late 60s, early 70s. We would do working men's clubs, Rotary clubs, old age people's homes so nobody could escape. And and so you sort of learned your trade, really, in a way. And then through the 70s in sort of various early prog stuff, and then punk bands, and then got more into the rhythm and blues stuff in the 80s and onwards.
Wow! Oh wow! So quite a varied kind of mix there. That's that's cool. So you have all of the experience of that. Many years of gigging and playing experience. Matt, a relative youngster, obviously comparatively, but already with so much under his belt and so much success, the future's looking bright, I would say, for Catfish. Is that fair to say? No matter what might be going on in the world, I think it's fair to say you're on a good footing as a band, I would say.
Oh, well, thank you. I certainly hope we can progress further. It's not like, we're not chasing awards or, fame and fortune. We just want to kind of be the best that we can be, if you know what I mean, like better than ourselves a week ago kind of thing, rather than anything else. So yeah, just kind of see where we can go with it, really.
Good.
And we don't mind hard work, and that's what it takes, really. I mean, you make your own luck for sure. But hard work is. We love playing live. That's the thing. I mean, we were talking the other day that the last gig we did was on the 29th of February, 2020. We did the live stream in July, which became the live album.
Yeah.
And at the moment, I think our next gig is in late May, early June, something like that. And normally we would have done about 120, 150 shows in between those 2.
Yeah, sure.
So it's a weird world. at the moment.
Yeah, I was just going to say. So obviously you probably haven't seen the other guys in the band, the other two, since the live stream.
That's right.
Yeah,
And that was
Well, I saw them very briefly for when lockdown kind of eased. We did manage to sneak in another gig with a different band. So I did manage to kind of get to see, and then it was really fun. And I hurt a lot after it because it's like, you know, we haven't been doing this for months on end. So when we actually did do it again, you know, the next day I woke up, all my muscles were seized up, and I was just laid in bed all day. I couldn't move. So it's like, I think it's definitely going to be an element of just adjusting again to doing the amount of work we were doing before. Then after a whole year of just basically stuck at home. So it's definitely going to be a big learning curve for all of us coming out of this.
I think so. I think that's true for everybody in lots of ways. Actually, I think it's going to be a bit of a shock to the system coming back out of it. But you know, that's still something to look forward to, isn't it? I mean, and obviously it's not the same playing live streams as to gigs or whatever. But you mentioned your live DVD Exile. Fiona actually sent us some stuff which we're going to cut in bits of this interview, and it looks like an absolutely rocking gig, obviously, but there's no audience. But you obviously so tell us a little bit about how that came together, because you must have had it all set up as if it was a live gig basically, and then just gone for it. Yeah.
Well, we had a message from a festival that we had played out in Holland called Blues Maastricht. Good friends of ours, and we really enjoyed playing there. I think it was the year before actually. We had played there the first time. We had a great time. And yeah, they asked us, we've been doing a whole bunch of acoustic live streams throughout lockdowns. They asked us if we could do one for them, but maybe try and do a full band live stream, because we hadn't really done that at that point. And they would, you know, help us organize it, help, you know, find a place, and, you know, help with, you know, financially as well, put it all together. So we said, you know, at that time, the restrictions were easing off a bit, so it was actually possible to do that. So we jumped at the opportunity, because at that point it had been, I think, 5 months since we had actually done that gig, our last gig. So yeah, we found a place called the Crawford Arms near Milton Keynes, Wolverton is more specific, we did it as if it was like a normal live stream, and it was a lot of fun. We decided to not do any rehearsals for 2 reasons. One, because we couldn't. We weren't allowed to, because obviously we weren't allowed to be, you know, in that close proximity, and you know, at that time anyway. And 2, because we felt like it was going to be really cool to have that energy of, this is the first time we've played together in 5 months. So we didn't want to actually like have any rehearsal to be like, okay, we're prepared for this. We kind of wanted to be like out of the gate. This is how, you know, you can just captures that frustration and the, you know, the excitement. And I think to me it came out really well. So when we heard back the recordings of it, we decided that this is a really cool, unique thing for us. Like, we had always wanted to do a live album, but we didn't expect it to kind of turn out like this, because obviously there's no audience in there, just the skeleton crew that were doing the filming for everything and the mixing. So yeah, it kind of birthed the idea of doing an album out of it. We had all the audio for it, we mixed it and released it, and the DVD as well, because we were filming it for the live stream. It was like we have a live DVD as well, so it kind of all came together accidentally in this really cool package, and it's something that's like, it's very unique, but we're very proud of it.
From what I've seen of it, that really comes across. I think the energy comes across. It looks great, it sounds great, and it's out already, isn't it? Did it come out in December? That's right. Yeah. So Paul, Exile live in lockdown. That's everybody should go and check that out. I'm sure they will. So Paul, I think we should wrap this up. But just tell us briefly. You guys have got some plans already. Obviously, we're all waiting to see how things pan out with opening up again and everything. But just tell us a little bit. What have you got in the pipeline, live wise or recording wise?
Well, what we've been doing for live is we've been trying not to cancel gigs, but to reschedule them, and so that whenever we are allowed out, we have work to do rather than just being allowed out and going, now what? So we do some gigs we've rescheduled about 3 or 4 times. We are on European tours in November last year, in March this year have gone. We think the May one will go too. So our next European trip, I think, is at the end of August, but we have some UK stuff now. I think it's June. Starting to happen, and looking forward to that. Really, I mean, it's going to be. I think I mean, I'm going to have to pace myself as well because I was ill back in the summer and haven't really played or sung anything since then. So I think I've got to pace myself and get fit to tour again.
Absolutely, Paul. I wanted to ask you about that. I mean, obviously, lockdown and the pandemic has been hard enough for everybody, but you had a bit of a health scare, didn't you? And that must have knocked you for six. But just, I mean, you don't have to go too far into it, but does that give you a kind of even more of a kind of a drive to just, grab life by the horns and just make the most of your gigging and your band and just all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I mean, I think I have to be careful as well. But yes, it does make me want to make the most of what we have. But there are two things that nobody wants to hear. Nobody wants to hear our pandemic album. That's even worse than a breakup album. And nobody's going to want to hear my heart attack songs either. So it's not the subject matter of a new album or any new songs or anything like that. But it's there as part of us now. So.
Yep, absolutely. And life is life. Life goes on, and we do what we can, and we make the most of it, and we make the best of it. So, on that note, thank you so much for joining us, guys. It's been a real pleasure. We look forward to seeing you guys out live again. I'll definitely come and see you when I can.
Absolutely, yeah. Thank you very much for having us. And I just wanted to say how we do have very fond memories of when we were playing at the Battle of the Bands originally, because that was, you say it wasn't a big springboard thing, but I think in a way it was, because that moment that made us realize we could maybe be a more original band rather than a covers band and things like that. So actually, I think for me that was a bit of a pivotal moment for us. I think it was.
You certainly found out your guitar wireless system worked, because that was a new purchase at that time as well.
It worked out really well.
There you go. So
it was the first outing for it.
It was the seeds then from which more grew. Well, cool. Also, just quickly then, because over the years it's kind of been quite a pack. Because obviously, Battle of the Bands is open to anybody. I mean, you don't have to be like a big kind of dedicated professional act to enter a Battle of the Bands. It's a platform for starting out, for beginners. It's a good way for youngsters to kind of learn the ropes and kind of get the confidence to kind of do all that. But I've always made the argument at the same time that why not be as professional as you can be about it. Some of the bands and acts that have come through Battle of the Bands and from the kind of Horsham local area have just been absolutely world class, in my opinion. You guys included, Holly Rogers, who won it. There's a whole load of acts that have come through Battle of the Bands who I think could and already are going on to great things as professional musicians. So that's what it's all about for me. Right, okay, on that note, I think we'll leave it there, guys. Thanks again. Thanks so much for talking to us, and good luck with everything in the future. Cool.
Well, thank you, Jamie. Appreciate
it.
And
thanks for having us.
Take care. Thanks.
Cheers.
Cool.
History for you. Come on. All right. Pauline just behind the fridge, he lays it down. She frowns, gee, my life's a funny thing.
In third place, a very respectable third place. Please make a little bit of noise for the very good 19 Naughties.
Don't make a sound. I know we're watching. They're watching.
In second place, the judges have decreed the second place goes to Stone Cold Sober. The winner is the Fat White Dukes.
So enough and she sweeps like a song, she cries, where have our Papa's heroes gone? And all night she wants a young American, a young American, young American.
Hi everyone, my name is Jamie Friday and I'm the Horsham District Battle of Bands Production Manager for 2021. My job in the competition is to ensure the smooth running of all the front of house and technical operation, and to ensure that we have the right people in the right place at the right time, as well as ensuring we have enough toilets, bins, leads, gaffer and cables to ensure the smooth running of the competition. I've been with Horsham Battle of Bands as a volunteer since 2006, when I first volunteered as stage crew. In 2014, I took a tiny bit more of a responsible role when we moved the competition from traditional venues out to the Human Nature Garden. What I love most about this competition is the fact there isn't many events in Horsham and West Sussex that can claim to have been running for more than 29 years. And this competition, I think, is unique due to the community spirit and the music scene in Horsham. There are so many amazing promoters, suppliers and musicians in the local area that keeps this event going. Some of the best performances I've seen in Horsham have been from Battle of Bands. There are so many great showmen out there, and I can't wait to see them all again for the 2021 competition. What I'm most looking forward to is seeing you guys at the final in the Human Nature Garden. Hopefully, unlike 2020, we will be out there on that August weekend. Until then, I'll say goodbye, and I will see you guys in August. I'd now like to hand back across to Stan.
So this is my little who's who bit for the Battle of the Bands online launch. I have been in Horsham since 2009. Horsham Battle of the Bands was running from 1993, and I'd heard about it quite soon after moving here. It was a big deal. I went to it a couple of years running. That was when it was on the bandstand in October. The next year, 2011, I entered Battle of the Bands, and I came third in the Acoustic Originals section. I was going to enter the next year, but I'd never got around to it. And then that year I was asked to be a judge in the acoustic section. So I did that. I joined the Horsham District Live Music Alliance somewhere along the way. And then the next year, Mark Daly, the host with the most for many years, asked me to take over and compare it instead of him. So I said, yeah, sure, cool. And I've been doing that ever since, basically. In 2014, it was almost scrapped. But then wasn't, because a subcommittee was formed of the HDNMA to keep it going. And I was on that subcommittee. And in 2017, when the HDNMA disbanded, the subcommittee formally took over control of it to carry it on, because the HDNMA couldn't do it anymore. So it's basically been the same committee organising it since 2014, different members here and there, but all the committee members now have been on that committee organising it since 2014. Battle of the Bands is, I mean, it's fantastic. It's a great opportunity for young bands and people starting out to actually, have something to work towards, get on a big, decent stage, play to a decent crowd, get that experience. But it's not just about beginners either. There's been some very professional acts come through Battle of the Bands, and we'll be chatting to one of them today on this launch, somewhere in there. My favourite band, I don't know really, it's hard to say, but so many good ones. I loved Killing Vegas. They were absolutely awesome. Sonic Deluxe, fantastic band. They won it a few years ago. Last year's band Artica, 13-year-old kids, and just amazing, just so talented, just great songs, great performance, thoroughly deserved to win. So yeah, that's what it's all about. It's just an amazing event. We need to keep it going. So that's me.
When you pulled out the blades, I'm heading along the road. When your buddies pull up with the beer, they got the girls in tow. And when the sun sets a fire in the sky, someone shooting the girls gone wild, going roll country. Roll country.
In third place this year, it is Mr. Tony Whiting.
Fills me up with joy to have that feeling.
In second place, though, the judges all unanimously had in second place Mr. Danny Dangerously.
Quit mouthing up cause I'm too tired to care. On a stairway to heaven and I'm halfway there. Say deprivation. Da, 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 da.
But I'm very pleased to announce that officially the winner of 2020 Acoustic Originals Horsham Battle of the Bands has been decided. Very deserving, I think, as well. Please put your hands together to congratulate them for winning this year. It is the Nick T Band!
Oh, country. Oh, country.
So, ladies and gentlemen, our next interviewee for this evening's Horsham Battle of the Bands launch online 2021 thing is here right now. And this is Mr. Julian Shelley of Woodstock IT. Hello, mate. How are you doing?
I'm really good, thanks, Dan. How are you?
I'm all right, mate. Not bad at all. Thank you so much for joining us. We're not quite sure when this is going to go out yet, but we've got a good show in store for everybody. But we couldn't do it without getting you on, mate, because you and your company Woodstock IT have sponsored Horsham Battle of the Bands for 3 years running, I believe. Is that correct? That's right,
yeah,
isn't it?
I think that's about right. Yeah.
Yeah, and you're on board again this year, which is great. Thank you very much indeed. Just quickly, if anyone interested in sponsoring Horsham Battle of the Bands, get on our website, horshambotb.co.uk. There are sponsorship packages available, but our gold sponsor, which is our primary sponsor, is Woodstock IT, and this gentleman here will now tell you a little bit about them. You are an IT company, Julian, I understand, yes?
Yes, indeed, yes. I started Woodstock exactly 10 years ago, actually, and aptly named, I suppose, being involved in the music scene as I am. Yes, so we look after local businesses in terms of their IT systems. So we're kind of like an outsourced help desk, if you like. And we got a repair centre over in Faygate on Holmbush Farm. So we cover a 10-mile radius of the local area. We can go further than that. We've also got an office in Guildford, which just opened recently. So we're sort of spreading our wings a little bit, if you like. But yeah, I love being involved in the local music scene. I myself have been playing guitar for most of my life. And yeah, it's close to my heart, and obviously I think everyone's desperate to get out and enjoy some live music again. So very grateful, and very grateful to be involved.
Some people will, I'm sure, recognise you. You are from the mighty Solace, no less. You are a guitarist in that band. You are.
Yeah, for my sins, we've been on a bit of a hiatus for a few months, I think, as a few other bands have been. But yeah, looking forward to get back on it again this year if we can.
So, have you got any plans yet in that regard? Obviously, you probably haven't been able to get together to play for a while, have you? But anything in the diary? Got any plans to gig? Do you think?
I don't think we've got any gigs in the diary, but all the band are still up for carrying on. So as soon as we can, we'll be rehearsing again, and I'm sure there'll be some opportunities come up. So yeah, bring it on.
Well, I hope so, mate. I'm looking forward to that. Like I say, we're kind of at the moment we're hoping it's going to go ahead in the Nature Garden Battle of the Bands, but we obviously just kind of keeping our options open and we're kind of waiting to see how things pan out. But it's all good at the moment. As of recording this, it's all looking quite good and favourable. We'll put it on one way or another, however we have to do, even if we have to change the dates or move it around or put it somewhere else. But we'll make sure we get it on somehow. We managed to do it last year against the odds. But yeah, hopefully we'll all be in the garden in August, having a beer and listening to some great live bands and all that stuff. And will you be joining us if we are, Julian? Will you be able to?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm desperate to get outside, so I think definitely be there.
Fantastic, cool. Right, well, I think we'll leave it there if that's all right with you, mate. Thanks so much for coming on and chatting to me. Right. And everybody check out Woodstock IT. I imagine you must have done quite well out of the pandemic. There aren't many industries that have kind of done well out of it, and obviously nobody would want to be in this situation. But I imagine IT has been quite in demand, and a lot of people needing support and help with it.
Yeah, for sure. Obviously, especially at the start of the pandemic, there was it was a big shock to the system, and loads of people needed to get set up working from home. So yeah, we count ourselves as very fortunate to be in the industry that we're in. We've been able to continue trading. And by all accounts, we've had a reasonable year. So So yeah, we're in a fortunate position, and obviously very grateful and glad to be able to help out the Battle of the Bands event and keep that running as well. So yeah, awesome.
Cool, man. Well, thanks again. We really appreciate it, because we wouldn't be able to do it. The event is completely reliant on sponsorship and the small bit of money that we take over the bar. We try and keep the events free. We were charging a few years ago to try and get some money in the bank and pay for everything, but for the last couple of years we've managed to put it on for free, and we're going to definitely try and do that again. And sponsorship makes that possible, basically. So we wouldn't be able to do it without you. So thank you very much indeed, man. We'll leave it there. And everybody, Woodstock IT, Julian, Shelley, thank you so much. Take care, man. Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right, so I thought we would do this one for Jamie. We mentioned it earlier on, and it was how we first met at an open mic night and playing this song. It's a Tom Waits song. It's a song called Chocolate Jesus. I don't go to church on Sunday. I don't get on my knees to pray. Don't memorize the books of the Bible. I've got my own special way. I know Jesus, he loves me, maybe just a little bit more. If I fallen on my knees every Sunday and around the leaves candy store, it's got to be a chocolate Jesus, make me feel so good inside. It's got to be a chocolate Jesus to keep me satisfied. Well, I don't want no Adam's apple, I don't want no almond joy. There ain't nothing better, more suitable for this boy. Well, no one damn thing that can pick me up better than a cup of gold. The only chocolate Jesus can satisfy my soul. Best to wrap your savior up in cellophane. Close like a big muddy, but that's okay. Pour him over, ask him for an ounce parfait. Well, it's got to be a chocolate Jesus, make me feel so good inside. It's got to be a chocolate Jesus, well, to keep me satisfied. Jesus, make me feel so good inside. There's got to be a chocolate Jesus to keep me satisfied.
Right, that's it. Thanks for watching, everybody. Hope you enjoyed the show. Thanks to Catfish. Thanks to Julian from Woodstock IT, our gold sponsor for this year's event. Thanks to everybody on the committee, my fellow committee members, and we'll see you soon for the heats, hopefully. Watch this space. Follow us on Facebook, Horsham BOTB. Get on the website for the entries, of course. Enter on the website now. Open for entries, horshambotb.co.uk. All the rules are there. It's all there for you, basically. Thanks. Bye-bye.